So next we're going to improve the actual symbol. At the moment we have a rather basic looking hand-drawn water balloon, so there's no appeal, there's no characterization here, and that's a problem if we're trying to create an effective animation. So what we're going to focus on now is turning our balloon into a character that has more personality that a person can relate to. So what I'm going to do first is locate an object that I can work with. So in this case I've gone back to the humble flour sack, and the flour sack, because it can be twisted and contorted, you can actually give it human characteristics. So that's useful here because I want to make it look like the flour sack is hot and bothered and needs to cool off in the pool. So I simply googled sad flour sack, I found this image, I went view image, and here it is. So I'm just going to go right click and copy the image to my clipboard. I'm not going to save it. Now let's go back into Animate. This is our animation as it stands. So the object squashes and stretches, travels in an arc, bounces and splashes into the pool. Pretty simple stuff. Over here is our balloon as it stands. It's just an outline, it's got no fill because you can see the pool through it. And we're going to go right click, edit. So now we're inside the balloon symbol, and whatever I change here will change every balloon that appears in my animation. First things first, I'm creating a new layer. I've already done that, and I'm going to call this clipboard, just so that I know what I'm working with. And if I toggle the eye off, that's the line drawing, and this is the clipboard. So I'm going to go Control V, and now I've got my flour sack roughly in the position where the ball is. Now I could just jump out now, and in fact I will. I'll click this back arrow and we're back in the scene, and already the symbol has changed. Let's have a quick look. Control Enter. Okay, so the mechanics are there, but it's not looking great. So we're going to go into the balloon symbol, as it's still called, right click in the library, edit. So we're back inside it now. I'm going to just turn off that bottom layer altogether, and I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to call this new for my new drawing. Obviously it has to be on top of the clipboard picture, and using my brush tool this time, so I'm going to use the brush tool, go over to properties, the brush needs to be black. There's our black brush, and the size, let's just have a look. That's a bit too thick. Control Z. So let's just scale the size down. We'll make it fairly small, and we're also going to give it a brush shape, and you'll see the effect of that. Okay, so I'm now going to simply trace over this and use it as it appears. So here I go, drawing my lines. I'm going to accentuate that curve there because I want him to look a bit more hot and frustrated. So I wouldn't encourage you to simply trace other people's work. It's always better to have your own work and ideas, but for the sake of time, I'm going to use this and carry on. So I'm going to make the bottom a bit rougher, and he's hot and sweaty, so I'm going to whoops, I'll just go show all. So that jumped to the side then. You can always use that zoom tool to get it back. So I'm going to give him some little sweat marks because it's a hot day and he's a bit bothered, and maybe some squiggles down here to make it look a bit more three-dimensional. So now if I turn off the clipboard image, we can see what I've got. We'll turn that off again, just by toggling the eye. Go over here, and I'm going to re-add that bottom section, and I'm going to give him some eyes, some kind of sad eyes, and that's almost looking like a mouth now. So It's a very ugly looking flour sack, but I think we get the idea. Now I need to tone this as well. I might be lucky enough to simply go over to our paint bucket fill tool, that's here, and I'll make him a light grey generic colour. And if I click inside these shapes, because they are closed shapes, you can see that, whoops, Control Z, that Flash is allowing me to fill them. So that's not bad. If I click here though, you can see how it's got an open end. There is a way around that, but I'll show you that another time. Now let's make these little sweat beads blue. So I've got my paint bucket tool, properties. Let's go for a light blue color and just click in there so that the sweat beads are now blue. So that's now our new symbol. Let's go to the back arrow and jump into the scene here. So if I play that through now, it's getting better, but you can see it still has this white shape around it. So let's go back into the library again. Library, balloon, right click, edit. So there's obviously some white shape in the background, so I'm just going to use my selection tool, and I imagine it's coming from this object here. So what we could even do now that we've finished with that is just go delete, get rid of that, and I'm also going to delete the original balloon drawing. So now we're just left with one layer, a drawing on one layer. Let's go back, let's scrub through, and you can see that that's now more transparent. So that's how you can edit symbols. And the good thing about working with symbols is if I create another layer and I put that at the top of the drawing, I can drag out as many balloons as I like, transform it down, and now we've got a crowd. Copy, paste, copy, paste. So these are all the other hot and sweaty flour sacks watching on. Every time I change the symbol, every symbol changes. So let's test that theory. Go back into the balloon, right click, edit. If I was to change his eyes, because those eyes look pretty silly, I'll go into my brush tool here, and I'll go back to properties and black. So if I was to draw better eyes, so we've changed his eyes. If we now go to the back arrow, get back into the scene, you'll see that the eyes have changed on every single instance of the symbol. So the power of symbols is tremendous in Animate CC, because however it looks here, in the symbol, wherever that symbol is used, every single instance of it is updated. So there you go, that's how we edit symbols at any time in any of our animations.